Hi, everybody. This is Emmy with the Graveyard Shift Talk Show. We are already well into Season 9, and here we are with the author Joseph Miller, and we are going to talk about the book Neil the Teal Seal, which was actually written by his son, Sean Miller, and we're going to get into that. But first, let me talk to you guys a little bit. Let me introduce Joseph a little bit. See, Joseph is a mathematics teacher in Gainesville, Georgia. And he's taught many subjects, including English, science, reading, social studies, 7 different grades of math, drama, and TV and film. And, it's theater and film that's really where his heart lies. And he hopes to get back into it. Joseph is also an avid hiker. He's hiked 1,400 miles of the Appalachian Trail, quite a feat. And he hopes to finish the rest of the 800 miles in 2 summers. And he's currently taking acting classes near Atlanta and doing small roles in film and commercials until that big break comes along. So you're a pretty active guy, Joseph. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to thank you for the time that you've taken in talking about this book. I know it's not an easy subject because I know it has to deal with your son, and we'll get into that in a little bit. First of all, I want to say it's a really ambitious to take on such an amazing thing as the Appalachian Trail, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit later. So it's no surprise to me that you would decide to take on publishing a book, because that in itself is quite an audacious feat. Take it from somebody who's done it before. Now, can you give us a little bit of an idea? Why did you decide to publish this book, and why is it that your son is publishing or has written it and not you?
Okay, well, my son was a student at Troy University in Troy, Alabama, and as one of his projects, he had to write a short story. And he wrote this little book called Neil the Teal Seal, and it's about a seal that's a little bit different. He's a different color, and people pick on him, and he learns to take up for himself and to realize that he's unique, and that's a good thing. And so he gets captured and taken to a zoo, and he becomes the star of the zoo. And then the rest of his family and friends get caught and are brought there, and he notices another little teal seal that's being picked on, and he teaches everybody a lesson that, you don't pick on somebody because they're different. You embrace their differences, and that's what makes us all great. And so he wrote this, and I kept telling him, you need to get it published. You need to get it published because it's a neat little story. And before he could get it published, he was in a car accident. Yeah. And he didn't make it. And so
sorry.
One of my, it's okay. It's okay. It really is. One of my ambitions was to get this thing published for him. And so it's just recently come out in Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. And we're real excited. I know his kids are excited. His wife is excited, and all of his friends, that it's, his voice is being heard again. So it's really special to us, and we just wanted to get it out there for kids to have.
Well, that's wonderful.
So that's,
and I can hear the difficulty in doing that in your voice, and I want you to know that, it touches my heart to know that, I can see the love you have for your son, and, in doing this, I just know that he's very happy and proud of you, and knowing that his voice will now he's immortal now, so now my children and their great-grandchildren will be able to read this and pass on that beautiful legacy that your son left to other children everywhere, and
right.
Definitely that message of, acceptance, unconditional acceptance is something that every child should learn. And, definitely it's something, I'm glad that you published this. I mean, first of all, the artwork is so cute. I mean, I love it. It's something. Who did the artwork to that?
He drew the basic designs, but he didn't color it, and the people at Page Publishing finished it up for him.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. That's so wonderful. Now, I mean, I want to make sure the listeners understand this. I mean, this is very recent, what happened to Sean. I mean, this has only been 2 years ago that he passed.
Yes.
And
yes, only 2 years.
So, I mean, guys, I want you to understand this hurt is very real to Joseph. So, I mean, you know, and not just anybody can just say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and publish something that my kid wrote, or I'm going to publish something that a family member wrote. It takes a toll on you, because each time I'm sure that Joseph has to talk about it, it brings up the memory, you know, and that's why it's difficult for him to talk about, and very understandably so. So, I mean, being a children's book, Joseph, a lot of people are under the misunderstanding or misconception that publishing children's books are easy, because they're very simple.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm glad you answered that way. Because, you know, they're simple stories. They tell a very easy to follow narrative, and the illustrations are, you know, typically pretty basic, but often they're not. So I would like for you, if possible, to talk to us a little bit about the journey that you took in bringing this book to life. Now, we already heard the emotional take on this. Can you give us an idea of how you actually brought this from Sean's words to life?
Well, I didn't change anything in the book. I didn't change anything in the artwork. It's exactly the way he wanted it. And I pitched it to a couple of publishing companies. They both jumped on it. And even though one was cheaper, I just was not comfortable with them. And the one that I went with, I've been real pleased with. And they've been great. My biggest obstacle was paying for the thing, because publications are not free. You know, they don't just do it and say, oh, well, we hope it sells. So, the fundraising was quite a journey and quite a task. But as far as the publishing process itself, it was mostly just approving every word, every letter, every page, every detail of the artwork. And in the back of the book, Sean actually has instructions for teachers, things that you can do with your kids or with your students. Teacher notes how to teach music through this, because he was a band director and he taught music. How to teach dance and how to make your own seals and what videos can go with it. Now, that kind of stuff I had to really go through and edit, because he was writing it as if he were teaching it. And, he would say, I will do this, or whatever. That was his original draft. And so things where, he wrote that, the students get the color pages. I had to take all that stuff out. But there is a coloring book that's coming too. I talked with the publishers this past week about the possibility of making a companion coloring book, and so that kids can have a little coloring book that they can color in. So that will be coming out hopefully soon.
Oh, that's good. So it'll be in connection to Neil.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be bought separately or, together.
Okay, well, that's great. And also when you're doing this, you mentioned about pitching to companies. This is something that a lot of writers listen to this program, and a lot of prospective new authors that really don't know the system that well. And you also mentioned about paying for this. Now, I want people to understand, so this is not vanity press. This is something that you invested in, and the publishing company also invested in.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, because I want to make sure everybody understands that, because there's been a lot of confusion about, anybody can just give money and make a book, but that's not what this is. It's something that he had to query about. He had to actually pitch it, and he had to find a publishing company that was okay with it. And I like that you said that there was a cheaper one out there that you didn't go with, and you decided to go with one that would fit, your son's vision better. And
Right.
really, I hate to say this, but really, and I'm sure you know this, it all comes down to marketing and really getting the book out there for people to see is really one of the biggest problems of publishing a book. So I guess my next question is, I have to think how difficult it must be. I mean, I know already how hard it is to market and promote a regular novel. I mean, forgive me for saying regular. I just mean non-children's novel. But I can't imagine how difficult it must be to promote and market a children's book, especially if you want adults to purchase it. So can you give us an idea of what you've done to kind of help get this book out there?
Well, I'm just getting started with that because, it just became available, and I didn't want to market it too much before it was available.
Sure.
But Facebook actually has been a tremendous selling tool in the last couple of weeks. I don't know how many have sold, but I know that a lot of people have purchased it, and some schools I've heard that knew Sean, especially where Sean interned, the administration has actually encouraged every teacher to purchase the book for their classroom library. So that's been interesting. But my publishing company gave me a lot of leads to go on. They sent me a list of about 200 places that I can ask for them to read it and then, write a review and promote it. So I'm just now working on that, about to set up, a little website, with the information and stuff on it, so that if someone Googles Neil the Teal Seal, something will be there besides just Amazon.
Right.
So
right. That's a good idea, because that way it can, exactly what you just said. That way you can, they can get more information aside from just that one place.
Right.
Now, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because, Amazon can't tell the story behind the story.
Yeah.
So I want that out there.
Yeah. You mentioned having, some background in TV and film. Have you ever thought of doing maybe a short documentary or something like that to tell? Because, I personally think the story behind this is quite frankly fascinating. I think people need to know, the kind of person Sean was. He sounds like a wonderful person. I wish I had known him. I kind of feel like I've gotten to know him a little bit from my very short. I really do. I know. I know it sounds
That's
silly,
great.
but no, I really do. I honestly feel like I've gotten to know him a little bit just from my short period of time knowing you, even though it's online. But it's funny, you mentioned Facebook, and this is a common denominator that I keep hearing over and over again, and it just further drives it home that social media has become this behemoth that people are using with great success. Now, granted, others are using it with not so great success, but I really think it's all in the implementation of it. And, I've been watching how you've been, on Facebook, you've been promoting this, and personally, I think you're doing it the right way. And, I'm sure doing the interviews like the one you're doing right now and speaking with people, it helps. Have you ever, did you ever get approached or maybe you're considering submitting to, I think it's the Newbery, I think it's called the Newbery Medal, or oh my goodness, it's the medal that they give to children's books. I had it on my mind and I can't remember it. What's that medal that they give kids books? Which one? Yeah, Newbery. The Newbery Newbery Elcott? Caldecott. The Caldecott. Yeah, thank you. My wife just helped me very much. Thank you. That's what the wives are for, to help. So it's the Caldecott. Are you laughing at me? Are the Caldecott? No, it's okay. You can. That's what I'm here for. So the Caldecott and the Newbery are both awards that they give children's books, and I personally would strongly recommend for you to submit this book for both of those, because I think it's worthy of it. I really do. The story is beautiful. It really is. I know most children's books discuss kind of topics similar to this, but this one does it in such a way that any child would be able to understand it. And I want you to, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of my children has autism. And
Wow.
I told him about this book, and he caught the underlying message right away. Like, and that's to a parent of a child on the spectrum, Joseph, that is priceless. It has no value. I mean, I just don't even know how to explain or even describe how happy it made me that he was able to get that. So I hope you know that your son is touching people's lives already. And thank you so much for doing this, because you've really you're helping people. I want you to know that you're helping people already. And
thank you.
Of course, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, that's basically what I wanted to say. Now, are you? What are you going to do from this point on? Are you gonna keep going? I mean, I know you've been through one heck of a time with publishing this. I know it's been a labor of love, but what are you going to keep? Are you going to publish anything else? Do you have any other plans?
I don't have any plans for publishing. When I worked at a college, I was forced to publish, but it was for educational, higher ed. I personally don't want to go through the process. Doing this for him was fantastic, yeah. But I'm so caught up right now in pursuing acting.
Right.
I don't have time to write.
Sure.
Now I have been, I've been an editor for some people who are about to publish a series of books, and so so it's there. It's possible that I might, and yes, I have all kinds of stories in my head, and I would love to write them all down. It's just, oh my God, when do I have time?
Right.
And you almost have to treat it like a job or some type of discipline where you force yourself to sit down and do it.
Right.
It's just like me studying acting. I have to force myself to study at least an hour a day.
Yep.
And here lately I've been doing it on the treadmill, trying to do two things at once.
It's called multitasking, but you're right.
Yes.
But there's a danger, and you've said it. There's a danger in doing it too much. And if you are doing what you're saying you're doing, like, with acting, it's either you do it full time or you don't do it.
Right.
Yes, I don't want to. Okay, let me clarify that. I know many of my fans out there pursue it on the side as a hobby, or hopefully that they'll make it, and that's fine. I am not knocking that. I'm simply saying, don't stretch yourselves too thin, because guess what? I'm very guilty of that. I did that at one point, and I went nuts. And
yep.
You don't do that. Let's so you said you're getting into the acting thing. What kinds of things have you been in?
There's some that, I can't tell the names. They haven't released the whole lot. We have to sign waivers saying that we won't talk about it. But there's been several independent projects here that I've done. I was an extra in a movie that Gerard Butler is doing or was in Atlanta doing.
Oh, cool.
And heaven help me, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a bank heist movie, and we were at the Atlanta Federal thing doing that. I've been doing some commercials. I've done a few commercials, and so I'm one of those that are having to do it on the side because the volume I'm getting is not paying the bills.
Right,
so,
right.
Have a day job until something really big comes along where I can just turn it loose and do this acting full time.
Right.
So,
but you're not stretching. I guess the point I'm making is you're not stretching yourself too thin, like what I was indicating. You're being careful with it, is what you're doing.
I'm really trying to.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to be careful. And just like this weekend, I had a director email me wanting me to be in Atlanta on Saturday, and I had to turn them down. Sean's little girl to come see her. So I'm going to see her. That's more important right now.
Of course.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful.
and I'm doing a photo shoot with her. I love photography too, and I'm going to go in my son's home, and we're going to treat her like a little model on Saturday, and she's going to have her own photo shoot. So I can't wait to do that.
Oh, that sounds great. So just in case you guys didn't catch that, the connection keeps going in and out. It's not your fault, Joseph. He's gonna get his son's daughter. Well, I guess it would be your granddaughter. And have do a little photo shoot with her, kind of make her feel like a model. So that's a wonderful gift to give. I think that's beautiful. Joseph, normally these interviews would take a lot longer, but seeing that our connection is not the greatest, I don't want to push it too much. So
right.
Anyway, I want to thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that maybe we didn't cover that you want to make sure the information gets out there that maybe I didn't ask that you want to say before we end the talk tonight?
Just Sean's story of appreciating everyone's differences. That's what I want out there, and never take anyone for granted. I lost a coworker today. He just unexpectedly passed away, and it's you never know. You just don't know. And so
look at what happened in Las Vegas just last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a perfect example right there.
And if we don't want to have to live with the guilt of what could I have done or what could I have said. And one of the things that has comforted me is my boys know how much I love them. Sean knew it, and I don't have to worry, because I made sure they knew, and that's just so important.
Absolutely. And seeing, speaking with you, Joseph, looking at this book, reading it, I can see it. And, Sean is still with us, okay? Neil is definitely carrying that legacy. You are carrying that legacy, and I think it's an absolutely beautiful thing. And I'm honored to speak with you, sir. I really am. And I wish you all the best in the world. And, guys, please, I can't recommend enough. Whether you're a child or not, please get this book and help pass on this legacy, this beautiful story of acceptance and compassion, because you don't have to be a child to like it. You don't have to be a child to understand it. And let's all be Teal Seals. Okay? Joseph, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I hope we'll talk again soon. Absolutely. And guys, you can get Neil the Teal Seal at most major bookstores or online at Amazon.com. And it's Neil the Teal Seal, and it's by Sean C. Miller. And please do get it. And thank you guys. Thank you again, Joseph. And we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
All right. Thank you.